Hello, I hope you all are staying home and staying healthy. I would like to welcome you all to the Unit 9, Wetland Hydrology. The learning objectives of this module is to define what is wetland and the diagnostic characteristics of a wetland. So, what is a wetland? According to the US EPA, areas that are inundated or saturated by surface or groundwater at a frequency and duration sufficient to support and under normal circumstances to support a prevalence of vegetation typically adapted for life in a saturated soil condition is called as wetland. To be classified as a wetland, an area must have the following three attributes. Number one, hydric soil. The baseline is predominantly undrained anaerobic soil. Number two, hydrophytic vegetation. The land supports plants which are adapted to wet soil conditions. These plants are also known as hydrophytes. Number three, wetland hydrology. The area is saturated with water or covered by shallow water at some time during the growing season of every year. So it is essential that these three criteria must exist for a land area to be legally classified as a wetland. In this video, I will talk about first two attributes. Hydric soil. According to Natural Resource and Conservation Service, hydric soils are those soils that are sufficiently wet in the upper part to develop anaerobic conditions during the growing season. There are a couple of indicators which will help you to identify the hydric soil, and they are number one, soil color, number two, anaerobic environment, where oxygen availability is become limited. Bacteria must utilize other compounds as electron acceptors to maintain their metabolism. Most iron-reducing bacteria are capable of using several terminal acceptors such as iron and manganese, which are by far more abundant in soil. Number three, glade or low chroma colors. These are basically the different shades of color, and these soils are saturated. Number four, concretion. When a horizon has been repeatedly saturated, reduced, and drained, iron masses will form where air penetrates into the horizon slowly to oxidize reduced manganese and iron ions. Nodules or concretions are believed to form when air penetrates quickly, perhaps at a point into the wet matrix containing iron and manganese. So what does soil color tell us? Soil color indicates different soil types. It indicates of certain physical and chemical characteristics. It also reflects humus content and chemical nature of the iron compounds present in the soil. So the second point is iron reduction in soils. Under anaerobic conditions, iron 3 can be converted to iron 2, which is more mobile. This is a bacterial reaction, so it depends on the presence of microorganisms, soil temperature, and the presence of a food source. In this slide, left picture indicates that higher iron accumulation, which turns rusted color in the presence of oxygen, while areas where iron is washed away appears gray. So, the anaerobic condition can lead to thick layer of organic matter in the upper part of the soil column. Picture in the left-hand side is a fungus series soil has more organic matter from top to bottom, and the middle one is a soil series where top 6 inches is black. That means the presence of organic matter. Presence of mineral soil is found under 36 inches in this soil column. The picture at the right side is a grady soil representing southeastern hydric soil with concretion and depleted matrix. You will find more information about concretion in the later slides. Glade or low chroma colors. Most hydric soil determination are based on the presence of low chroma colors. In this condition, soil are saturated, and you can see from the picture that color is not intense. Concretion is another feature of hydric soil. These are local concentration of chemical compounds which have developed near the surface of the soil. A concretion looks like a nodule of rust. It is hard and compacted, however, not hard like a pebble or rock, as you can get a feel from this picture. It is often gray or dull orange and can usually be broken apart with a pen knife. Redoxymorphic features of hydric soil, often called as mottles. These are most likely to occur in soils that cycle between anaerobic and aerobic conditions. Mottling is the name given to spotted areas of color in soil. Mottling is usually associated with periodic wetting. Picture in the left is showing the root areas are oxidized, and the right picture is showing the spotted areas where gray areas are due to less iron and the rust color represent more iron. If you are interested to learn more about hydric soil of USA, go to this website to get a list of hydric soil based on the state or by soil survey area. In order for an area to be identified as a wetland, the second characteristic is the hydrophytic vegetation that are adapted to the wetland environment. These plants have unique characteristics to adapt to oxygen deficient conditions, including physiological adaptations, morphological adaptations, and reproductive adaptations. In many cases, adapted plant communities become the dominant source of organic matter in a wetland system. Morphological adaptations are changes in the structure or form of the plant which aid them in growing in their particular environment. In wetlands, hydrophyte special trees may have butterseed bases which help provide additional stability in soft wetland soil, as you can see from the picture. They have special roots, which are multiple root stems growing down from the main trunk. Mangrove trees are an example of a plant with this adaptation. Other plants have spongy hollow tissue often found in the stem, which increases the plant's buoyancy and the number of wear spaces in the plant. These types of tissue may help the leaves of the plant to float and may store air for the plant when it is underwater. Physiological adaptations are methods which plants use to change the metabolic pathways in which they process energy. Do you remember that there were alternative pathways through the Krebs cycle for anaerobic activity? To refresh your memory, these anaerobic pathways are not as energy efficient as aerobic pathways and often cause the accumulation of chemicals which may be toxic to biological processes. Many wetland plants are thought to possess alternative methods to handle the energy stresses and the buildup of these chemicals from anaerobic respiration. Another adaptation is the ability to lower the rate in which metabolic activity takes place under stressful conditions. Many plants can transfer oxygen from the roots into the pore space of the soil surrounding the roots to minimize root degradation and to maintain nutrient uptake under anaerobic soil conditions. Wetland plants have high amount of nitrate reductase, which is an enzyme that reduces nitrate to nitrite. According to Grow et al. 2015, wetlands created 20 years ago between tilled agricultural fields and a river in Illinois shows an overall 62% nitrate removal rate and little emissions of nitrous oxide, which is a greenhouse gas. Reproductive adaptations include prolonged seed viability in wet conditions and the ability of the seed to be triggered to grow in dry conditions. Many wetland plants have seeds which can germinate under low oxygen soil conditions and have seedlings which can survive low oxygen conditions during their early development. This is the end of this lecture. Next lecture will include the third attribute of wetland, which is wetland hydrology.